Hey there, bread lovers. Today, we're going to dive into the world of bread making, and we're going to start with the basics. We'll be using for key ingredients yeast, flour, water, and salt. So, let's get started. First, let's talk about yeast. Yeast is a living organism that's essential for bread making. It's a single-celled fungus that feeds on sugars and produces carbon dioxide and alcohol. When we mix yeast with flour, water, and salt, it creates a reaction called fermentation. This process is what gives bread its unique flavor and texture. Now, let's move on to flour. Flour is the main ingredient in bread making. It's made from ground grains such as wheat, rye, or corn. The type of flour you use will determine the texture and flavor of your bread. For example, bread flour is high in protein and produces a chewy texture, while all-purpose flour is a versatile option that works well for a variety of bread recipes. Next up, we have water. Water is the liquid that helps to hydrate the flour and yeast, creating a dough. The amount of water you use will affect the texture of your bread. Too much water can result in a dense loaf, while too little water can make the dough dry and crumbly. Finally, let's talk about salt. Salt is a crucial ingredient in bread making. It not only adds flavor, but it also helps to control the fermentation process. Too much salt can kill the yeast, while too little salt can result in a bland loaf. Now, let's put all these ingredients together and create some delicious bread. To start, combine the flour and salt in a large bowl. Make a well in the center and add the yeast. Pour in the water and mix everything together until a shaggy dough forms. Next, turn the dough out onto a floured surface and knead it for about 10 minutes. The dough should be smooth and elastic. Place the dough in a greased bowl, cover it with a damp cloth, and let it rise in a warm place for about an hour. Once the dough has risen, punch it down and shape it into a loaf. Place it in a greased loaf pan, cover it with a damp cloth, and let it rise for another hour. Finally, bake the loaf in a preheated oven for about 30 minutes or until it's golden brown and sounds hollow when tapped. Let it cool on a wire rack before slicing and enjoying. And there you have it, folks. The basics of bread making using just for simple ingredients. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we can't wait to share more bread making tips and tricks with you in the future. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to follow and subscribe for more delicious recipes and food tips. Happy baking!